We have seen cases in which inaccurate data has been found and corrected. Revisions take place, but in 2020, admission after admission of incorrect data has been detected, referenced, and then ignored. Despite the fake numbers, the mainstream media will continue to parrot the official numbers. They don't even look at the Labor Department's own statements about how inaccurate the numbers are, simply because they know that the majority isn't paying attention, and it's really all about keeping them divided and conquered. Job well done, it seems. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Yet more admissions about what's going on with the jobs numbers, about the unemployment numbers, about the economy as a whole. I'm going to show you that, and we are going to outline how important this is. I'm going to give you the details surrounding this. I want to talk about what's happening in Italy as well. More stimulus coming there. We're looking at what's happening with the Federal Reserve and all of the changes that are put into place. I'll get more into the dollar and what's happening there. There's a lot to cover, so let's begin. U.S. jobless claims data to come with disclaimer on accuracy. Oh my goodness. Well, what would happen here if your employer decided to pay you and then give you a little disclaimer on the accuracy of that payment? Yes, you were supposed to get $1,000 this paycheck, but we're going to just put a little asterisk there, and it's 800. There's a little disclaimer on the accuracy. Well, you wouldn't accept that. You wouldn't take that. But because the government provides these numbers, nobody really cares. They just do whatever they want, it seems. The closely watched weekly reports of U.S. claims for unemployment benefits will soon come with a disclaimer that the figures aren't accurately capturing how many people are actually claiming benefits after a government watchdog found the figures to be flawed. The Government Accountability Office looked into this. They have a report, and of course, they found what we all knew, but now here it is, and they describe exactly what's happening. The Labor Department, quote, plans to clarify in its weekly news releases that the numbers it reports for weeks of unemployment claimed do not accurately estimate the number of unique individuals claiming benefits. And that's important. Unique individuals. I'll get more into that in a second. The latest jobless claims report said that 20 million people were claiming benefits across all unemployment insurance programs in the week ended November 7th. This figure includes programs ranging from regular state unemployment insurance to special programs providing extended benefits and help for those not traditionally eligible for unemployment assistance. They go into it further in this Bloomberg article. I'll also touch on the Wall Street Journal and others as well. This is the kicker right here. If a person files for 6 weeks of benefits in a given week, for example, that's typically counted as 6 separate people in the total instead of one person. The GAO report said that this method of counting is normal for the Labor Department, and before 2020 provided a good proxy for the actual number of people claiming benefits. But with unemployment skyrocketing in March and April, the jobless benefit programs multiplying the current crisis, the method led to consistent inaccuracies that have been evident for months. Okay, they get into more detail in here. There is the report, which is linked, and I just wanted to highlight how important this is, because when you see the statistics and they are outright inaccurate, they admit the inaccuracies, and yet the mainstream media continues to spit out their nonsense that we are seeing. Unfortunately, nothing's going to be done about it. The majority of states have been paying PUA claimants the minimum allowable benefit instead of the amount that they are eligible for based on prior earnings, while states are obligated to pay out the full amount that is owed with the greatest promptness that is administratively feasible. There's so much to this that's going on. This Wall Street Journal does touch on a few extra points that I found interesting. I won't have time to get into it all. Just wanted to mention that really quickly. States count and report the compensable weeks claimed. Typically, this closely approximates the number of individuals filing initial or continued claims. However, given the unique challenges, multiple weeks of retroactivity in the new CARES Act, and the state's large backlogs across all programs, this approximation was less accurate than before. That's the quote. I'm not going to harp on this anymore. Let me show you some further data. This was interesting because it shows us the temporary layoffs as well as those permanent. And I know that we're on the same page when we see this information that there are more people permanently losing their jobs. I expected this. I know you did as well. Number of unemployed workers permanently losing jobs and on temporary layoff, January 2019 through October 2020. And you could see what's happening. It's very clear. As we hit earlier into this year, you moved into March, April, that started to rise. But look at the red line. That's your workers permanently losing jobs, and that has been increasing month after month after month. The temporary layoffs have been declining, but I think that the biggest issue here is that people that have been permanently losing their jobs has been ticking up month after month. It is expected to continue to get worse, of course, as we move into 2021. Quick point here, media industry layoffs are poised to reach an all-time high in 2020, and that just shows you that there are all different industries affected by this. 28,637 cuts reported by late October. Fueled by low interest rates and a historic housing shortage, California's median home price in September reached $712,000, closing out 4 straight months of record highs. This is not the only place that's experiencing this. You are seeing in large part condo prices have declining, detached homes have increased, inventories for some places have declined. Others, those inventories have increased. It depends. If you look at certain types of homes, if you look at the broad view of it, it really all depends. But what we are seeing here are some generalities with a lot of these different cities. When you look around, it just shows you that more people have been moving out into the really dense populated regions, into more areas, more space, maybe a suburb, maybe even further out into the rural area. People are moving out of the cities. They're moving out of the country sometimes. And this is a complete mix up in all of the different statistics when it comes to the migration and how people are working and how people are living their lives. Definitely some big changes here, there's no doubt. Italy approves new stimulus package to bolster shrinking economy. I didn't realize this, but apparently it's already the 4th stimulus package to support businesses hit by the latest restrictions. And I think that's pretty interesting to see how certain countries have been, 1 or maybe 2 stimulus packages already. Italy's on the 4th. Measures worth 8 billion euros to support the hardest hit sectors. Output likely to contract 1.8% in the final 3 months of 2020. Europe is definitely feeling it a lot differently than some other places, at least the official statistics that they provide. But in a place that's relying on exports, in a place that's relying on tourism, as well as their own domestic economy, you're being hit from all sides. That is not a good thing for the jobs and, of course, for the lasting effects. This article here is just talking about this owner of Buca, La Banane, and Jacobs, these restaurants racking up somehow $46 million in debt, including almost $100,000 for mushrooms. This is just an example of how companies that take on this debt, trying to operate their businesses, the revenue was slashed, I believe it mentioned 98%. What happens, and they call it the knock-on effect, because they owed, for example, here, mushrooms. One supplier of their mushrooms, they gave them the mushrooms, they didn't get the payment. All of these different businesses supplying to these different restaurants suddenly didn't get their money. So it has an impact not just on that restaurant. This is what I try to emphasize this all the time. We don't have to worry about Buca, this particular restaurant. We don't have to worry about Jacobs. We don't have to worry about these individual companies, but because they are going to be able to handle themselves, okay? But we have to understand how that impacts the suppliers, the tradesmen that are working here. Maybe they're fixing different things within these establishments. Whoever is the landlord here, they're going to take a hit. Like, there's so many different aspects to this. And simply looking at the U3 unemployment rate is absolutely ridiculous here at this point. It's a laugh. The dollar index, which tracks the greenback's value against a basket of currencies, touched its lowest level in 2 years. 2 years right now. We're looking at it declining. It's been doing this at the same time where stocks have been going in the opposite direction. They're discussing the details, what they believe and why. I'm just showing you the trend. We'll see if this continues. As a result, we can notice that a weakened dollar actually makes it a lot easier to do business when you're dealing with everything being priced in dollars. If you're in a different country, whatever that country is, you got to price your commodities, your imports, your exports are all going, for the most part, in that reserve currency. So this actually takes off a lot of pressure on different countries right now. Statement on LIBOR transition, new information. There was so much talk about the LIBORs going away and everybody needs to be scared because they're bringing in a new system from the Federal Reserve and this is going to happen in 2021 and so on. But it looks like much of that is being delayed as expected. The administrator of LIBOR has announced that it will consult on its intention to cease the publication of the 1 week and the 2-month USD LIBOR settings immediately following the LIBOR publication on December 31st, 2021. Then it goes a little further, and this is the important part. The remaining USD LIBOR settings immediately follow the LIBOR publication on June 30th, 2023. Extending the publication of certain USD LIBOR tenors until June 30th, 2023 would allow most legacy USD LIBOR contracts to mature before LIBOR experiences disruptions. They want to make sure that everything's all good, and in some way, it seems like this is an extension, and that is largely expected to occur, of course, and who knows where this will be as we hit 2021. But I just think that there's a lot of unnecessary anxiety surrounding this. In order to calm you down, though, I'm providing a tweet by Janet Yellen. Here we go. We face great challenges as a country right now. To recover, we must restore the American dream, a society where each person can rise to their potential and dream even bigger for their children. As Treasury Secretary, I will work every day towards rebuilding that dream for all. Thank you, Janet. Thank you. We all love you. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, hit that thumbs up button. When you do, you are supporting me just by clicking a button on your screen. Thank you for that. If you want to learn how to sell stuff online, right now would be the right time, and you could learn for free at my website, theamazonGPS.com. If you want to know about the financial system, you want to understand the central banks, you want to be able to profit, you need to read these 2 books. It breaks it down so easily, so simply. Definitely check them out at the link in the description if you want the audiobook, themoneygps.com. But wait, don't go anywhere. You've got to watch this video. A lot of key information right here, right now. Click it. I'll see you there.